we're back. And the reason we keep doing this is because when we did the whole show, it just disappeared. So we're trying to capture it in little segments. And it is time now for the Luddite Lounge, which really is my favorite segment. This is where we take a look at the downside of technology, which the press never does. Yes, they'll talk about the invasions of privacy, but they only give it lip service. It's never in depth. It never gives you any idea how much you're being surveilled and how your dossier at the NSA is just growing and growing and growing. And remember, the NSA is not supposed to keep dossiers on Americans, and neither is the CIA, but they do. They are liars and they are cowards all. And Google, it has been reported this week, has stepped up to censor the internet. They're going to censor it for upsetting or offensive content. And they have hired 10,000 independent contractors. 10,000 censors bloom at Google. And they're given the job of hunting for hate, violence, racial slurs, offensive terminology. Am I being offensive right now? Am I offending you? Am I being hateful? I don't know. It's up to Google to decide. They're contractors. And since they're contractors, of course, they won't get health care. But they have hired these PC police, these politically correct police. And I just have to say, could Google and could the American people be any more cowardly than they are? I just don't know how. But I'm sure you will show me how. Anyway, they say they're doing all this censorship, which they would not use the term. They are saying we are trying to improve search results. Now, how's that for an Ivy League euphemism for censorship? Yes, our elites, I've said the American people are cowards, and I said the American people are torturers, and we are. But we are just following our leaders, who are the biggest cowards and the biggest liars and the biggest abusers of human rights. Our leadership hates freedom. They are greedy. They are greedy, fearful people. And I am disgusted with them. And they are using this Google now to suppress our free speech. And when they're not suppressing it with political correctness, they just do it with a filibuster, or they just knock you off the net, which I'm sure they will do to us sooner than later. And it may have something to do with why we're having so much problem getting the show recorded tonight. Anyway, digital technology, in my opinion, is about invasion of privacy. This laptop monitors my producer's every thought. It knows how long he spends on every picture and on every site. It knows what he's thinking. And now we have internet-connected toys to invade the private lives and the private play of our children. And it's recording our children's voices and how often they use the toy and how they play with the toy. And yes, they'll use it for marketing, but who knows what else they'll use it for. So I would suggest, and I know this is futile, that parents avoid these data collecting toys. But of course, the parents have their own data collecting toys, like their iPhones. The iPhones that are made by people in China who have no human rights, no civil rights, and who commit suicide at an alarming rate. That's at Tim Cook's factory. Oh, he doesn't own it. It's just his stuff is made there. So you can't blame Tim Cook for that. Well, they are taking advantage of our children now. And I would say, if your doll is talking back to your kid in real time, that is not going to spur his imagination. In fact, it makes him very vulnerable. If you want to fire your children's imagination, just give them some building blocks or a regular doll, and they will provide the narrative. They will provide all the imagination you need. But the internet has turned us into unthinking dullards. And evidently we're in a hurry to get our children to be just as zoned out. Because of digital technology, my friends have very little attention span. And I'll tell you what, for all this information age, they don't know anything. They are so uninformed. This is the information age, but I'd say they are very misinformed. But they do have this. They do have a very strong sense of superiority, even though they're ignorant as the day is long. So don't do this to our children. But demand is high, and I know that we have no chance. It's time to close the show. And I want to say these are stressful times. And I see very little media compared to most of you, but what I do see stresses me out. NPR is stressing me out. They are so strident, they are so one-sided, It's just like watching the mirror image of Fox. And it makes me angry to hear it. It makes me angry to read the New Yorker these days. They're just such liars. And they've made it impossible for us to have a reasonable discussion about anything, much less immigration, without being called racist or stupid or xenophobic or hateful, or my favorite, deplorable. The debate is shutting down. And in a free country, that's very stressful. So don't buy into the stress. Don't buy into the torture. Don't buy into this invasive technology. Don't let these freedom-hating cowards in Washington, D.C., or Wall Street, or Silicon Valley dictate to you. Don't buy into the hate. Don't buy into the greed. And please don't buy into the elitism. Nothing turns me off more. Smile at those who disagree. Listen. Rediscover your humility. And turn off your digital toys and go outside and breathe this glorious day. There was a cartoon in this week's paper, Pearls Before Swine, which is my favorite cartoon strip. If you've ever seen it, this is what it looks like. See, here it is. They have pig and rat and goat. And in the first two frames, it's pig and goat, rat and goat. And they're standing on this ledge, and goat is looking out into the abyss. And rat says, "What are you doing, goat?" And he says, "I'm just enjoying the moment." And then in the next frame, he says, "I'm not tweeting about it. I'm not posting it on Instagram or sharing it on Facebook, or sharing it on Facebook." And then in the last frame, rat says to pig, "Goat's lost his effing mind." I love that guy. I love his thing. And I would urge you all to be more like goat. And oh yeah, one more thing. Speaking of Tim Cook, our largest corporation, Apple, has just recently bragged to a reporter that it has created and supported 4.8 million jobs in China. Thank you for watching Still Kicking with Billy Hauer. It's been an honor to share this beautiful earth with you. We'll be back next Tuesday about this time. That is, if I'm still kicking. And my dentist just told me my blood pressure's a little high, so you never know. But in the meantime, speak out. Don't be silent. Don't be a coward. Live up. Be free. And I love you all, legal and illegal.